Trans-Pacific Partnership is back in the news, and negotiators behind closed doors are one step closer now to including Canada in on, well, the further erosion of our civil liberties and what's left of the rule of law by signing on to this corporate state regulatory takeover. What's been delaying Canada's negotiations has been our tightly controlled dairy industry and auto sector. Since the Canadian government protects these industries from domestic and international competition, dairy and auto workers have had inflated wages and salaries for the better part of the last century. The TPP will not remove barriers to domestic competition. This so-called free trade agreement has nothing to do with removing the bureaucratic red tape here at home that would allow for individuals like you and me to milk cows and sell our produce without having to go through the very costly requirements of the regulatory democratic state. Now, the TPP has nothing to do with ending this corrupt system. It's actually about promoting it to an international level. It's about removing the barriers for corporate elites. The business establishments in countries like Japan, Australia, and Peru want access to Canadian markets, and they won't allow our business elites to participate in this global piracy without first removing these dairy and auto sector tariffs. And of course, what's not being covered in the corporate state-controlled media is the fact that international tribunals will ultimately make these kinds of trade decisions. Now, right now, the TPP is being discussed behind closed doors, and really no one bats an eye. It's just being shrugged off as this is just the way things are done. As if the input of the public who will be affected by the TPP doesn't matter. And, can you blame them? The masses are often just ill-equipped to make important economic decisions, collectively, which is why democracy has really been such a failure. But the solution isn't to cut the public off from information and decision-making processes. The solution is not to create an international legal apparatus that will override traditional courts and the decision-making of local elected governments or police sheriffs. But fortunately, there is some light to shine on the bad news. While the TPP negotiations seem to be going full steam ahead, Canada's dairy lobby isn't giving the negotiators an inch. Even the United States has their fair share of lobbyists who are opposed to the deal. Tammy Overby, vice president at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, is worried that if we miss this opportunity, I believe we may lose it forever. We have the Canadian election. No one knows what the outcome's going to be. We also get closer to the U.S. 2016 presidential race. That gets harder. So from my perspective, nothing gets better, but the risk increases, and in some cases, quite significantly as time goes by. Of course, elections change little to nothing. NDP leader Tom Mulcair, in an effort to regain the support that he's lost over the last couple of weeks, has come out against the TPP. Now, he's also against the war with ISIS, and his party did vote against Bill C-51, but of course, I'll believe it when I see it. If the NDP wins, I suspect none of these things are going to change. Continuing the TPP deal and paying off the dairy and auto sectors to keep them quiet can be sold through relentless state propaganda, whether it's left-wing or right-wing. And already the campaign for international fascism has begun. The Canadian Agri-Food Trade Alliance, a crony capitalist organization in bed with GMO canola producers, are calling themselves a pro-free market agriculture group, and they are extremely optimistic about the TPP. And meanwhile, Prime Minister Stephen Harper has announced today, Saturday, that he plans to make certain provisions of the TPP public, putting the decisions to Parliament. Of course, this very well could be a campaign gimmick, and in fact it most likely is. After talking about making the TPP public and allowing MPs to vote on it, Harper went on about how it creates thousands of jobs, but with no mention of what kind of jobs. The TPP isn't going to foster entrepreneurship and free markets. It's going to further solidify the political and economic power of the corporate state elite. It's merely just another series of bricks in the pyramid scheme that is the New World Order. Thanks for watching, guys. Click the like button and check the description for all the sources to this video and also for links to where you can donate to PFT or become a PFT member in order to help us continue to do this work. So stay tuned, folks. We've got a lot more videos coming soon to pressfortruth.ca.